Well, here we are live at direct and live. Okay, my viewer thingy, and as of today, 0 viewers. Woohoo! So my YouTube channel is as normal as it always is. Just me speaking to just me. I mean, I was hoping, at least with a few of the competition not able at the moment to broadcast due to things that have happened, that at least I would get some interest. But there you go. No, none at all. Well, I'm not sure what to do now. I mean, do I just carry on chatting to myself for the sake of the recording? Do I get myself a cup of coffee? What exactly do I do? I mean, I suppose I can just briefly go over what this was to do with anyway. I was doing a TikTok. I had 600 to 700 in there, which was quite a good amount. It's what my old accounts used to get before they got permanently banned. And it was quite a good stream. I was doing it on 39, Shura 39, IS 12, and also Shura 6, IO 163, both of which say that Muhammad was the first to submit his will to Allah. Now, of course, if that's true, then Islam is false, because Adam was supposed to be a Muslim. No, he wasn't, according to the Quran 6163 and 3912. He wasn't the first to submit his will to Allah. Abraham was then supposed to, no, not according to those verses. Ishmael, no, not according to those verses. And there were many, many other people before Muhammad who apparently submitted their will to Allah. They were Muslims. This is exactly what a Muslim is, someone who submits their will to Allah. Clearly, as I say, those verses clearly state that Muhammad was the first. It says the same in 614 as well. But for argument's sake, it's best just to use 6163 and 3912 because they're both quite clear. Muhammad was the first to submit his will to Allah. And of course, this either causes huge contradictions within the Quran or proves that there was no Islam before Muhammad. And this was my topic. And I had lots of people coming up, and a lot of them were talking about me hating towards it. And I have to keep explaining to them, no, I don't, not at all. I then got onto a point about how Muslims always seem to cry and always seem to, be bawling their eyes out about people being against them and attacking them, when in fact it's the other way around. It's Muslims who attack everyone else. And I went on to the example of Israel and Gaza genocide, and also talking about how many countries Islam has genocided. Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Mauritius, Syria, Lebanon. I mean, you can go on, 15 of them in total that they've totally genocided. And I thought, because the live got banned at that point, and I was assuming that what it was the word genocide was one of the many words that TikTok have got on their banned list, because there are many of them. And of course, because TikTok refused to publish this list of banned words, no one knows what they were. And so I went to do some investigation on it into finding out whether genocide was an actual banned word on TikTok. And apparently it's not. Apparently genocide is not one of the banned words on TikTok. However, it did say that if they felt you were promoting or inciting genocide, then they would ban it. Now, how TikTok can, view me as promoting or inciting genocide when I'm giving two different instances of genocide, one against Islam and one and for Islam, I don't know, because since then also TikTok have put a strike against that as well, and so they've viewed it as a major violation. As I say, luckily there were over 600 people in the room at the time, and so at least there are many, many witnesses to see that I didn't actually do anything wrong. But going forward, what I will do is when I start to go live again back on TikTok, is I won't even entertain any of the Muslims who come up and wish to divert from the topic and talk about my own personal beliefs. I'm not even going to bother to entertain it. I will continue to tell them, oh, I'm a Christian, and leave it at that. And as a Christian, we have to love everybody. And then I will leave it at that, as I say, and then get back to the topic. That way, there's less room for TikTok to illegally ban you. And they do seem to, particularly like to illegally ban me for some reason. As I say, I mean, it's probably because, I get a topic, I work the topic out completely. So there's no wriggle room and there's no arguing from the Muslims on the subject, And in this particular case, again, there would have been none, Surah 39, ayah 12 is quite clear. Muhammad was the first one to submit his will to Allah. In other words, he was the first Muslim. And Surah 6, ayah 163, again, exactly the same. Muhammad was the first to submit his will to Allah. Muhammad was the first Muslim. There were no Muslims before Muhammad. There was no Islam before Muhammad. Because, of course, once you submit your will to Allah, you are a Muslim. Whether the term is in use or not is irrelevant. That's how it works in Islam. As soon as you submit your will to Allah, you are a Muslim. As I say, whether that is a phrase that's used at that time or not is all irrelevant. So, I mean, that's what so far the only argument I've received from it, from certain other Muslims I've talked to on this subject, away from social media sites, is, yeah, that only means he was the first Muslim. Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. If Abraham submitted his will to Allah, that means he wasn't a Muslim. If Ishmael submitted his will to Allah, that means he was not a Muslim. If everyone else before Muhammad submitted their will to Islam, it means all of them were not Muslims. So in other words, when you say anyone who submits their will to Allah is a Muslim, it's incorrect, because that means you can actually submit your will to God and not be a Muslim. In other words, a Christian can submit his will to God and not be a Muslim. And that is what Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, Adam, Moses, Jesus, and all the prophets before Muhammad did and were. They all submitted their will to God and were all Christians. There was only Christianity. So Islam, either way, looking at these verses, you have to accept Christianity as the true faith before Islam. 39:12 of the Quran and 6163 of the Quran. As I say, I mean, I did this stream because, again, I'm at the moment currently not allowed on TikTok, where I get the majority of my viewers. I did already as well do this, so it was up since, I think, the weekend that I was going to do this post. In the hope that some people would at least see it and think, okay, I'll go in and see what that's all about. Sadly, that's not worked again, as usual. No one has come in. 3 people currently listening to the old fart mainly talk to himself. I was hoping, as I say, because how social media works is that when you get enough people coming into a room, and that is anywhere between sort of 70 to 100 people, it immediately will bring Muslims into the room. And of course, once they then come into the room, they will stay in the room for a while, um, chatting and whatnot, and then eventually they will request to come up, and then you can debate them, and have a serious discussion with them. When it's rooms like this, where no one comes in, a Muslim will come in, see there's no one in it, and immediately leave because they're not interested, because they know there's no one there to hear it or listen to, how false their book is, how false their Quran is, how false their Muhammad is, and how false Islam is. And so, as I say, they're not bothered. They just leave immediately. This is why, it needs Christians to sort of start uniting more and standing together more, especially on social media sites. Because I do see plenty of them out there, where, they struggle, a lot of them, even to reach 50 or 60. And as I say, for some reason, mine struggles to even reach one. It's just gone down to one now. Um, and that is a direct reflection on fellow Christian brothers and sisters, because it's fellow Christian brothers and sisters who are allowing, basically, the evil of Islam to spread, and not uh, counteracting it by supporting people who wish to, put streams out there and do streams on Islam and debate Muslims. There's very few. There's very few of them. I mean, I can, I don't even need one hand to list the people who do streams on social media, inviting Muslims to come up to debate them. Very few of them. Um, and most of those appear to be in the States as well, strangely enough, which at the moment doesn't have a problem with Islam. The size of it, I mean, I think the percentage of Muslims in the States would be something around the region of like 1 to 2%. Absolutely nothing. Whereas in the UK, in Europe, Germany, France, and so on, it's a major, major problem, and it's a major, major problem that needs discussing. And so I am very, very, very surprised that my own Christian brothers and sisters cannot support people, as myself, to do this sort of thing. They're just not bothered. They're just not interested. Um, Unless, of course, they match up to their expectations or their criteria. Something, of course, the Lord Jesus Christ didn't teach. But there you go. I mean, obviously, that's going to be, when it comes down to it, that they will need to be answerable for their actions. Um, Obviously, maybe a few of them didn't even see it, because again, social media, that's how it works. When you have social media, the more people that subscribe, the more people that view, and more people that like while they're viewing and then comment on it, the more YouTube and other social media sites will then push that platform out to the people. The less people, it doesn't get pushed. Hardly anyone sees it, and that's what happens with my streams a lot of the time. One to two. I think the most I've ever had at one time is 6 viewers. Um, you know, and obviously, consequently, that means no one gets to see them. And so, of course, that's a large problem with it as well. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe as well, it's not something that I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe the Lord Jesus Christ doesn't wish me to have, you know, um, figures on social media. But then I get a bit confused when I do the TikTok, and actually on TikTok, I've had um, many viewers, um, especially on some of my older accounts. I mean, on one particular older account before it finally got permanently banned, I had over 30,000 followers. Um, and regularly the streams would attract 400, 500 people, and at one time it even went up to 1,000. Hello, Lemonade. How are you? Yeah, it even went up to 1,000 viewers on one of my TikTok streams previously, and so it appears as though I can get the word out and the information out on TikTok, but then on any other site I can't. As I say, I mean, I tried uh, Clubhouse. That was a failure. Um, no one would ever wish to debate me there. Muslims always run away from me there. I would open rooms and I would be the only one within the room, even though there were plenty of other rooms open at the time, and I felt we're not doing. Um, not doing as good sort of topics as what I was actually going on, really. But there you go. So I stopped using that particular app. As I say, I was on TikTok still then. I was still doing TikTok, so that was good. And as I say, all that time I also had this YouTube channel up and running. And I've had the YouTube channel longer than Clubhouse even, and even longer than TikTok. But yet it's never ever gone anywhere. Um, Even though I've tried promoting it myself, I've been on many other Christian brothers and sisters TikTok streams, and constantly put into the chat, please come and support my YouTube channel. And either the messages were not seen or they were just totally ignored, because whatever I've done, nothing's ever worked on YouTube. Um, it's always been no sort of response really in a great detail for it. And as I say, it's a shame because there is a good topic there to discuss, um, which I was, as I say, doing it on TikTok before they banned me illegally, and gave me a strike warning as well, for apparently promoting and inciting genocide, which I was in no way doing. I was just talking about the difference between Islamic genocide and non-Islamic genocide. And the main topic, of course, as I say, was Surah 39, Ayah 12, and Surah 6, Ayah 163. Muhammad was the first to submit his will to Allah. Muhammad was the first Muslim. So in future, as I say, going forward, all I will do now when I do TikTok is, instead of diverting onto any other topic, I will not do that now in future, especially when it comes to my own personal beliefs or my own personal thoughts. I will just simply, as I say I am a Christian, and I will leave it at that. There will be no more discussed upon the subject. That way, I have given TikTok absolutely no ammunition to ban the lives. And then, as I say, stick just to the topic. And if the caller doesn't wish to do that, then I'll just drop them immediately. And that way, as I say, hopefully then I can keep the TikToks going, because at least I do seem to get the viewers on the TikTok, which is good. But I mean, I will try keep persevering with YouTube, because again, it is a good platform to debate people on. It's I feel you've got a lot more leeway and freedom on YouTube than you have on TikTok. Um, I think, I mean, generally from what I've seen anyway, of people who have been banned on YouTube, it's generally been because they've been showing other videos. And then that gets them into a copyright legal, legality sort of situation. And of course, I won't never do that. Um, Yeah, that's true as well, Lemonade. Yes, yes. If the caller's not bothering to provide any evidence, which they won't anyway. But I mean, I'm not too bothered about that because that's not going to lead to a ban. As I say, what leads to a ban is then allowing them to discuss different things and allowing them to come on and say, "Oh, you hate this and you hate that," and then going into a sort of lengthy debate on what I hate and what I don't hate, because as I say, that allows TikTok to ban it then for hate speech and hate behaviour, even though you haven't said anything that breaks their laws on hate speech or hate behaviour. Just discussing the topic gives TikTok the reason to ban it for that. And as I say, if I refuse totally to even get into the debate on what I don't like and what I do like, there's, as I say, that gives no reason for TikTok to even use that then as an excuse going forward, which, as I say, is what I now plan to do. Um, so, I mean, as I say, I'll just stick to the subject now. But as I say, I mean, it is such a shame. As I say, I mean, there were over 600 in that last one. And that's not, as I say, I've had other TikTok accounts where there's been 500, 400, 300, and even once up to 1,000. And the link to my YouTube is in that TikTok. I know it is. Um, so, that it's crazy. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, the government are planning to make it worse. But what everyone, as I say, needs to remember, Lemonade, is that's why you need Christianity, and that's why you need to be a Christian. Because as a Christian and following Christianity and following the Bible and following Jesus Christ, it gives you the right to talk about other so-called religions, and especially those other so-called religions that are satanic. Your own Christianity, Jesus Christ, and Bible gives you the right to do that. And if they try to stop you talking about Islam, which is a satanic cult, they are stopping you from practicing Christianity and following Christianity. And they can't do that. That's something they can't do. Well, again, that doesn't come into it, Lemonade, because it's as far as they're concerned, it doesn't exist anti-Semitic and Christianity. But again, I mean, as I say, it's crazy that people are allowing these to happen when they have the answer. As I say, it's Christianity. It's exactly the same thing when they were locking people up for Facebook posts and social media posts talking about refugees. And again, it can all come into the Islamic and the Muslim thing as well when you're talking as well about the grape grooming gangs. When you understand what you're discussing, and you understand the book and what the book says, and as I say, when you understand what your own book says, because your own book says you must call this out, you must, approach these people and tell them. So when you're a Christian and you're following Jesus Christ and the Bible, by speaking out against Islam, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just following your own faith and your own God and your own beliefs. And they cannot make that illegal, no matter how hard they try. And this is the problem, as I say, with it. There's so many people out there who have lost their Christianity, they've lost their faith, they've lost their Jesus Christ, they've lost their God, and then they're still trying to talk out against others who are following an incorrect God and an incorrect, deity and a false religion. And that is what they can attack and stop, because they can do it through racism, they can do it through fascism, they can do it through Islamophobia. There's so many other different labels and titles they can place on you and stop you doing that and make that illegal, which they can't do if you are following the true God and you have the true religion and the true God and the true book, which tells you to do it. And that's the biggest problem with it, you see. And this is something, as I say, that people don't understand when it comes to this type of problem. You know, they think they can politicize this problem and make it go away with political arguments. They think they can, fight this problem with weapon or whatever, or word or whatever, and defeat it. That no, this is a satanic, demonic problem. And as soon as people wake up and realize that, then we will have a chance of stopping and fighting this satanic, demonic problem. But until then, the satanic, demonic problem is just going to continue to win. And that's the problem with it. I mean, I had a problem just the past few days. I mean, I was sort of debating with a certain person on X. And of course, I don't know who this particular person was. I mean, it could have been, because it's easy to pretend you're someone on X when you're not really. But they appeared as though they were, a staunch Labour supporter and a staunch Keir Starmer supporter, and he started to discuss things of like the Public Order Act. And Section 18 of the Public Order Act, primarily 1A and 1B. And when I looked it up, it's to do with people who spread either words or deeds that are deemed to be anti-racist or and promoting racism. And as I say, at that point, all I was doing was asking him about the Quran and Islam, and why he supported child rape, grooming gangs, and was he aware of what 65:4 of the Quran said? Because he said he was an Arabic speaker, and so I, assumed he would know. He ignored the question, and so I answered it for him. 65:4 basically allows Muslims to marry a fetus. And that's when he then brought up, the anti-racist card. As I say, obviously not realizing that, Islam is not a race anyway. But again, I don't care when people do that to me, because I am a Christian. I am a Jesus Christ follower. I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and I believe in the Holy Bible. And the Holy Bible tells me to do what I am doing against Islam. And I don't care how many other people come forward and make up whatever law they wish to make up. If that law is going to go against my Bible, and if that law is going to say something different to my Bible and my God, Jesus Christ, guess where you can stick that law? And they won't have a response to it. That's the point. Even in a court of law, there will be no response to. My judge is Jesus Christ. My judge is the Holy Bible. What do you do in a court of law? You place your hand upon the Bible and you swear an oath to God that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The court can't go against its own book. So let them bring in Islamophobia laws. Will it stop? Will it heck? Because I'm following my God. Oh, go away. Stupid people. Yes, I mean, I'm following my God, as I say, and that's not going to stop. I don't care how many politicians bring in how many laws they want to bring in. I'm going to continue to expose Islam. I'm going to continue to expose the Quran. I'm going to continue to expose Allah, and I'm going to continue to expose Muhammad. And I don't care. They can do whatever they want, because they're not going to stop me practicing my Christianity, and they're not going to stop me following my Bible, and they're not going to stop me following my Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And of course, if they wish to try, happy for them to do so. Happy for them to try and stop me being a Christian. See where that gets them. That will get them a lot worse than it gets me. I guarantee that. And this is the problem, as I say. I mean, this is something that I'm trying to promote on a daily basis, you know, to everybody in the UK and France and Germany and Holland. It's a message that all of them need to understand, hear, and start acting upon. This is why, again, I'm really surprised, you know, that especially in America, where, you know, if you have a YouTube channel in America, it just goes straight away, huge. And if you get backing from again, it goes huge. And as I say, it's surprising me that none of those Yankee Doodle dandies will support me in this effort. Because that's my only aim, is to try to make, you know, more Christians of people in the UK, to France and Germany and Holland and Europe, where the biggest problem from Islam is at the moment. Because, as I say, the more people that turn back to Jesus Christ, and the more people that follow Christianity and the Bible, then this problem can be defeated. This problem can be defeated. But that's the only way it can be defeated. Because, like I say, the governments and all the other people and the rule makers and the police and the courts, who obviously don't follow any religion, they just follow the money, the power, and the wealth, they still will have to start listening to the Christians the same as they're listening to the Muslims. They will have no choice. And that's the point. Because most of those people are not Christians, because most of those people are atheists and they don't believe in any God and they don't believe in any religion, you're giving the power to the Muslims, because the powers that be have to listen to the Muslims. They have to. When they come forward and say, we're just following our God, we're just following our book. They're not following nothing. They're just following, you know, their own desires and wishes. And that's the problem. All those other people that don't want it and are speaking out against it are not following a God. They're not following anything. They're following alcohol and drugs and money, like the politicians are. They need to stop. They need to stop following their own desires and start following the desires of God. And that's the only solution. Unless that happens, then you may as well all put on a bed sheet and a black bin bag and start banging your head on the floor, because that's all that's going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years. I give it no more than 6 years at the moment in the UK, and it could be even less than that. It could be at the next election. I certainly feel definitely 100% the way things are going that at the next election there is going to be another party to Labour and Conservative and Reform to vie for the position of the new government, and it will be the Islamic Party. There will be an Islamic Party, I feel, at the next general election. And well, if it doesn't happen, as I say, at the next election in 4 years' time now, then it will definitely be at the one after that, and they will have a good chance of winning. Only purely and simply, as I say, due to the amount of numbers, due to the amount of corruption that they can achieve, due to the amount of illegal practices that they will be able to achieve. As I say, I don't think we'll need to wait until the second lot of elections. I think they'll be ready and up and running to do it at the next election, I believe. But we'll see. We'll see what will happen. Of course, all I can do is leave it all into the Lord God's hand, and whatever He decides, that's it. That will be what will be decided. And as usual, after 36 minutes of a pre-planned broadcast for the past 2 or 3 days, only 3 people. So I think I'm going to leave it there. It's not really much worth doing it a lot longer than this. Because at least if I leave it short, hopefully people will watch the video, push a like button, and then that will promote it a little bit more, although I doubt it. So God bless you all. Peace of Christ to you all. I may do another one Friday, Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. All right. God bless everyone. Peace of Christ. Thank you for coming.